G'day and welcome to another episode. My name is Daethstro, the Aussie Geek, and today we are looking at the DNA Designs DK01 upgrade kit for Combiner Wars Devastator. As far as I know, you can use this for your Unite Warriors version. I think from the pictures I saw, it actually fits that Mixmaster better. I will also point out, I've got to look at the video, but I at some point snapped basically the piece that holds these two together. So that's why there's a bit of a gap. I might have to either try pull it out and glue it back in, but I don't know. By the way, if you want to see the reviews on this guy, I will put a link up the top right corner there for the playlist for all the characters. So you can put most of this stuff on long haul, which I'm not detaching long haul, but there's basically what it looks like. He also does have parts fillers. Oops, which I just dropped one. Where'd that go? Actually, that's not even for him, that's for Hook. But I'll just drop the camera a little bit, or maybe a lot. So, there we go. So you get this piece that is to replace Hook with the new head, which I'm not putting on. You do have these pieces. You have an alternative face for Devastator. That now I'm just dropping everything. And I admit on mine, I have issues. I've had issues. But I don't know if you can tell it, but this is supposed to be a screaming face, honestly. But it's not. It's just more of a face. But the lips are painted white. So, I don't know if it's on the instructions, which I won't lie, the instructions are a bit shit themselves. Oh, okay. So you might just be able to make this out. So, if I can try and focus. That's what the face is supposed to look like. So it's supposed to look like he's, grrr. But for some reason, they've given this face closed lips. And yeah, it just looks atrocious. It does have light piping for a feature later, which I haven't got the batteries for. But we do have these pieces. These will go into, basically, they will go into the gaps here, or what would be the actual inside the leg. So it fills in those little holes there. And I'm just having a look. And the last piece, which is the one I'm actually holding, this one apparently goes under here. But I'm not attaching any of those. I don't feel the need to attach any of those, so I'm not doing any of those. All right, let's get down to Mixmaster for a moment. So I'm going to probably be doing a lot of jump cuts in this to save me time pulling things apart, so just prepare for that. So here we go. Here is Mixmaster. So I've just detached him from Devastator. Still got the silver missing there. And as we all know, that doesn't work. It doesn't look like a G1 mixed truck. Like normally we all have a sort of, this is at the front, which I will admit from another source, this is actually a proper vehicle. Not the way I've got it situated at the moment, but yeah, it is a proper mix truck type. So here I thought it was just some made up bit of just what the hell, but admittedly, yes, it's an actual type of mixed vehicle. So that is a legitimate front end, and voila, all done. So that is the front end, but that's not the front end that we wanted for our definitive, well, for most of us, our mainline definitive Mixmaster. So you get this, and this has issues of its own. Now, I did get told from sources that I really should have gone with a different brand, but considering how old this guy is and the fact that I only was able just recently to get this. It will suffice, but I'm not a huge fan of it. So what we're going to do is we're just going to pop this out a little bit, and you have these holes on the side there, and you have these here. Now there's a piece on here, in here, which is going to go over these sort of nubbins, whatever you want to call them. So you want to put it the right way around, and if you can get the top on first, then you can worry about the rest. So that's just going to sit over that. Try the best you can. Actually, probably be easier flat for the time being. So just slide that over and push it back. Might have to get these, yeah, like so, and go all the way back until that goes click. And then what you want to do is just lift this up. And your best bet is to actually sort of get the head out of the way if you have trouble doing this, because it's actually going in the head hole. So I'm just detaching the heads. They're just to, if I can focus it, just to, that didn't do anything. There we go. Still not doing much. Come on. Focus, damn you. There. So these just sort of sit in the gap. But what you're going to do is, and it can be a little fiddly, especially with all these moving parts. So the port's there, and it's going to go into that same hole, so it's not going to cause trouble for the head, but you just want to sort of line that up. Try your best to get all this crap out of the way, and it'll all situate under here. So that now is your new front cab. Now we can put the head back where it was. Might have to flex the plastic a little bit, but you can get it back in there. It's not that hard, despite how it looks like for me. All right, so for truck mode, normal transformation, you fold the head in. This mode, you keep it folded out. You have these sliders, and it's going to come down. And I had to screw one of these in further, and I'm worried eventually that's just going to strip. So you're going to fold these out and up. And if this looks fiddly, trust me, it's terrible. So there is 2 ports, not very strong ports. This thing needed more tabbing spots that are in here. So when you bring this down, you're going to have, whoops, I didn't even get it all the way down, I don't think. I got my head too far up. There we go. So it doesn't sit snug, and it doesn't tab in very well. But you do get a more accurate looking front cab. So then these all sort of line up so it looks more appropriate. But it's too fiddly for what it needs to do. All it needed to do was sit on this piece here and sit around here. It needed just a few locking points, and that was it. It didn't need all these sliders and stuff. So as good, much as better as that looks, I'm still inclined to say that's the front of the mixed truck. So transformation wise, so everything else is pretty much the same. You're supposed to slide all this back, but honestly, for what it does is, I'm going to try this now because I haven't tried this yet. But I'm going to untab these like we do with the normal transformation. Fold these down like we do with the normal transformation and spread the legs. Now I'm going to try this. I want to see how well this is sitting on top of that. So let's see if I can unplug that, which I don't think I am. I think I'm having, oh, there we go. So I'm still going to need to lift the head to get those up, and I think, yep. So these pieces are actually getting in my way. So you basically have to untab these, which, like I said, don't really tab at all, and slide all this back. And honestly, these are the only way that these actually sit where they're supposed to. So fold that, there's a little piece in, fold that back, fold all that back as best you can, and fold that up, bring that down, and that is his cab mode. You get all this shit hanging off the back. So far, the one bonus for it is you get a proper looking front cab, but I don't think that's even worth it. So take that for what it is. All right, so for combine mode, we're going to untab all that again. And this is going to have its own slight issues. So we'll fold those back in. And we'll get these back out again. And fold those out again. Put them back where they're supposed to go. And fold that in. So that gets us where we were. Flip out a heel. And then it's a matter of getting all this situated. Now, we do want to fold the head in, but the problem is the plastic here is either too wide across to get around the barrel. So when you fold it up, it's going to, and I'll do it better when I actually situate it. So plug that in there, fold that up, and like I said, it's not much tabbing it in place. It really needed more tabbing points, more than just this one little tab here and a port down here somewhere. That's the only thing holding it in place. So it's not much. This all folds up to keep that flat, and then you fold the head in, and we have combine mode. And that's not even sitting properly. I think my pin drop popped out last time. I think it's about to do again. But because of the way this is sitting, it's at an angle. So, yeah, not good. The weight of it will fix it a little bit, but not much. But like I said, things are popping off and untabbing. Like there's not enough friction to hold it in place. So there is that. So you can get a better looking foot, even though these pieces are now flopping around. All right, so I'll bring the rest of him back, and then we'll get to the upper body. Okay, so there is how he looks with the foot on. If he's situated, he's fine. But, here we go. But if you try to move him around, this is all going to flip around. So take that for what it's worth. All right, so apart from those pieces, I'll just put those off over here. We do have a couple other accessories, which we're going to actually need to remove Scrapper, Scavenger, and Bone Crusher. So I'm just going to quickly detach his chest and get them off. Okay, so first things first, we have Scavenger. All right, so what we're going to do with him is we're going to take the hand off, and then we don't need Scavenger. But what we will need is we're going to need this piece. We're going to need one of these, which is his new hands, which is then the next problem I have. So you see this gap in here, and if I can get it out without knocking it over, it was supposed to have one of these. So what would happen is this would sit in here, and you could use it sort of a weapon launcher sort of feature, which I think I've got it shown on the instructions. Where are we? Have you got a picture of it? Not really, no. I'll see if I can find a picture, and I will post it here so you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, so that's supposed to be in there, and this is supposed to have a launcher feature with all this, but I'm not fiddling with that because that's a lot of fiddling around. And the handle, I can't get that back in. Honestly, I cannot get that back in, and I don't feel like, beg my pardon, disassembling all of it just to get it to work. So I've literally had both those out. Anyway, so what we're going to do is we're going to detach the hand, which is easy enough. There's just two little sort of tabs which sit on there, which just help it rotate. And then you're going to find the mushroom opening and just sort of push it down. And then we don't need the hand. We only need the wrist. So we bring the other hand back in and slide this down, and voila. Another problem I had with this, my thumbs were the wrong way around. This little piece is supposed to be disconnectable, but that's sitting in there pretty tight, so I'm leaving that alone. But my thumb was down here on this one, and the same with the other one, so I had to pull the thumbs off and then get them back on again to fit. And this is basically what's going to hold the gun. All right, so that goes back in there, and just like it was in, and get back in there. It's not as fiddly as it looks. It's just the way I'm looking at it. I don't know why. Get in there. Why am I having trouble? There we go. All right. So there's that. So we have our wrist and whatnot, and this is supposed to be able to transform in a way that I think basically is this way, and it sort of folds in. There is a replacement piece for this, sort of, but it's more of an extension than anything. So take that for what it's worth. Sorry, I'm not fiddling, pulling that apart because I'm not too pleased with this in the first place. So you do have articulated fingers, you have ball joints all here, and you have pins here, ball joint pins, and you also have an in and out, if you want to use that, but personally I don't find a use for it. I don't think one of my pieces is sitting properly. Nope, didn't think it was. Get in there. All right, so pull this way because that's the way we actually need it to be, and we will get to the next piece, which should be now I've only done one of these. I think this is, yep, this one. So I glued this together. It comes like this, and I won't lie, except for the gun part for Max, and a different company that I got an upgrade kit for Power the Primes Abominus. I don't know a lot about. I've never done too much into upgrade parts, but I'm sorry, but this shit should have been glued together. It should have come in one piece or pinned or screwed or something. It should be in a whole bunch of parts. So basically how this works, and I'm hoping I can do this without having to glue it all together, because chances are I'm just going to put this away. You want to plug these in here, and same on the other side. And as you can see, it's already popping out on me. And then this, you're going to keep it so this way is the barrels are pointing out, but you have these two pegs, and you got two holes here. And it's better off to do partly when it's glued, because then you can keep it in, but at the same time, it makes it harder to get it in. And you have this. Now, I'm putting that aside because it's going to fall apart. You have this. So I'm not quite sure how this all fits together, but you have this slider feature. It doesn't do anything for Devastator itself. But when you fold it out like this, you have all these barrels. I'm just having another quick look at the instructions to see if I can even figure out how that works. So I can might be able to actually show you. So I'm just literally looking at this going, huh? So from what I understand, fold those down. You want, it looks like it's showing fingers straight down, unless these become the back end. So somehow, oh, that's how. This way, this way. So there is a port in here, which is basically your wrist. So that goes on there. This apparently comes down. And it's showing that this is all like squeezed up. So I'm guessing like this. Oh, there's literally a second knuckle there, if you can get it. Oh, that's tight. All right, I'm not even gonna. But let's see if I can get it to fit in here anyway. So that all goes in there, and then you have this new missile launcher, and there's supposed to be the piece there, which is what holds it, but that doesn't happen, and I'm not quite sure what the hell that's for, because like I said, it doesn't tab into anything, so I'm wondering if that's actually something that tabs into long haul. So take that for what you will, and now because I have no, oh, there we go. I was going to say, because I have no finger tab, I can't get it out. All right, so this comes around like this and sits like that, and we are going to have our forearm extender. All right, so basically, and we can get rid of the instructions now because I don't need it. So you have these gaps here, and you have another port inside. I don't know if I can show it. There you go. This port here. So this is going to go into the get button instead of this one. So you want to have these pieces. Move the camera up a bit better. These pieces are going to slide into these gaps. So slide down as far as you can. Try to get in there. Here we go. And it's just a matter of finding where that slot is. And this comes down, just sits on the back. It doesn't lock into anything. And we have, even though that wants to pop off, we have a forearm extender. So it gives you more detail on your forearm. If you want, honestly, I don't feel the need for it, but it is what it is. Honestly, I think that piece should be an inside, not an outside, but that's just me. And I can feel, yep, I was going to say, I can feel that forearm starting to try and unplug. Oh, here we go. So there is a point for this. So this somehow hooks around under here. So it does clip in. So there is an actual purpose for that to keep it locked in place. So there is that. All right, so bone crusher, same deal on the other side. And there is another piece we will get to in a second. They say in the instructions to use this for bone crusher. Where is it? Other way around. So it says excavator and bulldozer, but then on the back of the instructions it says this part doesn't need to be used. The injection mold already been amended. So why they added it, I don't know. But we're just going to toss that back into the plastic. So this is the one that we haven't glued yet. So we take bone crusher arm off. We detach his hand. We take off his wrist, which this one's a bit tighter. There we go. So we can put the fist aside. We grab the new fist and plug that in place. Take our other hand or our forearm and put that back in place. Once again, no handpiece, and thumb was the wrong way around. All right, so then we take our extender and we can slide that in. Now this probably will fall apart because I don't have it glued in. Let's slide that up into the gap and plug her in. And then we have this piece here, which is where our forearm goes over. And then this comes down and that locks into there. So God help us, because that's moving. That is moving. No, that's come off. I knew that was going to. See, this is why things should be pinned in or glued. And if this gives me trouble, I might have to do this later. Really? This is the shit that infuriates me. It really does. You want to make your figure look just a bit nicer. Now, admittedly, I will say that this was probably a time when they were just starting to do this stuff. So I can't fault them, but I can fault them for not making amendments and proper fixes. That is just going to go into the clamshell for not actually fixing their issues before re-release. So there we go. All right. Next, we have these two pieces. And which one was it? this one. My ratchet, where is it? No, it's the other one. Is it the other one? Yeah, this one, the ratchet didn't work. I had to pull it apart and fix the ratchet joint because I don't know if I can show it, but there's a little bit of plastic. Probably can't see it very well. A little bit of plastic in here that holds this in place so it can ratchet. Mine was semi-busted, so I've actually had to turn it around, and now hopefully that will stay ratcheting for a while. But yeah, I had to fix it to get it to work. So not pleased with that out of the box, having to fix things. All right, so what we do here is, so this is your new shoulder. So it goes up, so you have more of a ratchet shoulder, and you have a butterfly, which is very squeaky, and honestly, it doesn't help. It really, really doesn't help. So basically, this is what is going to connect onto Devastator's shoulder. So yeah. So basically, what you want to do is, where the original ones had the tabs ports here, which tabbed into hook, these are now going to slide over here and tab on here, and there's a tab up here. Just line all that up best you can. You might have to do the combinables technique and actually just lift the arm up so you can actually see everything, which I do find is a lot easier. Just make sure all that lines up and tabs in together, and now you've got a shoulder. So instead of, you can use this, but you're supposed to use that, and then you'll have this, which sounds atrocious. All right, Bone Crusher is the same way. So, but Bone Crusher does have an hindrance with his. So this is supposed to sit on the shoulder. This is supposed to sit on the shoulder, if I can keep it focused. Come on. Focus, damn it. Why am I having such trouble focusing so close? There we go. So this is supposed to sit on the shoulder, but because of what this does, it actually lifts up the arm. It doesn't work. So you basically have to just partly transform it back and do that. But it will partly hinder this normal shoulder movement. So I'm going to just untab those. Take this, and we're going to slide that into there. And then, like I said, whoops, that didn't even want to stay in. It doesn't hold very well on Bone Crusher, honestly, but does the same thing. So line up the original tab up there if you can. I think it just untabbed itself, which is absolutely brilliant. Fold that in there and tab that in there. And roll that up. Get that on there, that in there, and that in there. And now Bone Crusher has his new shoulder. I'll just lift the camera up a little bit. So now Bone Crusher has his new shoulder. So there is that. Right. Now's the fun part. 1 second. Rightio, so let's attach this to Devastator. So we have this port here. It's now going to go over that, like so. So now this is the shoulder movement. Do the same on the other side. Plug that in there. Now you will notice, if you can see them, there's 2 ports here, 2 ports here. That is now your chest guard. So let's try to do this the normal way. All right, so you're not using these anymore. These 2 ports no longer a function. So we'll just line that up, which I can't see too well from the other side of the camera. Where are you? I literally am having trouble seeing, so I apologize if I'm not showing this off better. There we go. There's that one. Try to get all that. Oh, just popped off. All that. Try to get all that lined back up. Why am I having trouble with you? You there? It's right once it's all plugged in. It's just a matter of getting things tabbed in where they're supposed to go. Doesn't do a lot of wonders with my hook now that I know he's broken. As I said, if I didn't say already, I'm going to have to... I'm legit going to have to have a look at my other video and see if it was already broken or if it's a new development. Did I get it? I think I got it. And honestly, them being... Oh, that one's popped out. Honestly, with hook, once the chest piece is in place, he's not moving anyway. All right, so there is Devastator, and of course there's police sirens in the background. So there is Devastator with his arm replacements. And I will pull him back a little bit further in a minute. But as you can see, it does give him a lot of upper bulk. The problem is now you can see Longhaul's arms. There is nothing to hide those, and you can fold these down here, but they will hinder his hip movement. But if you have him stationary and you really need to, you can fold these down. But what are you going to do? You've now got more hip. Unfortunately, there's no way to fix that unless some other upgrade kit came out. So there is that. Let's see if I can push back a little bit further and bring the camera down a little bit. I have to push him back a little bit more once again. I'm not going to bother pausing this. Oops. Get back up there. So there we go. So he does look bigger. He does look bulkier. The heads, which there is replacement heads, don't really do anything to make his head bigger. He does look. Looking at my Zeta figures have small combiner heads too. But I don't think he literally needs this much extra bulk. Really. There is only one thing so far, we'll say two. There's two things that this set needed to do. One was give his hands more articulation, and two was to fix Mixmaster's cab mode. The cab mode, the hands, great. The forearms didn't need to happen. Honestly, I think, and I have been displaying this guy without the forearm extenders. So what I might do, because I bet your bone crushers will just deteriorate on me, I'll just untab that and get all that undone. So like I said, you can still use this. Still works the same way. Slides over there. And as you can see, there is something of a difference when it comes to the arm length, which honestly, I don't think the forearm extenders really does enough. I think that's still perfectly fine, honestly. I do not think it needs the forearms extended that much, but it's just me. I know there's a lot of leg for Devastator, but I don't think it really needs it. All right. So we're just going to put him off to the side for the moment because we're going to get into the last accessory. Oh, hang on. Almost forgot. So the gun, where the original hand here just slides in. That's it. It's friction. My next door neighbor saying that's nice. Now, with the new ones, you have this piece here, and it's supposed to go in the bottom of the gun. But you can just slide it down and over, and you just wrap his fingers around as you do, and he holds that perfectly fine. So that is a nice feature. Like, it's not needed, But for the articulation of the hands, I'd say it does. But that's not going really anywhere. But like I said, those outsides, I really don't see a use for them. So part of me is wondering if they're supposed to bend the other way. But if that's the case, then the transformation wouldn't work because because there's no room here. So I don't know what you use them for. Oh, while I'm at it, articulation with this. So, like I said, you can get his arm up that far. And as I said, with this over here, it doesn't reach here anymore. So you get that up there far, and then you can use that if you want. But yeah, that's coming down. As for the butterfly joint, you're popping his chest plate off when you use it. So either they're supposed to go the other way, go that away, because if they go forward, they're disconnecting his chest. So they're useless that way. So it might work that way, but I'd have to completely disassemble both of them to get them to go the opposite direction. So take that for what you will. All right. Get on to the final accessories. Ugh. And then I might put the arm back together and we'll actually see how he looks completely. I'll make sure to do a comparison so you can tell the differences. So we have, I've already showed you the alternative face. If I can get the head out, we have this head. So I'm actually way further away from my table than I normally am. Come on. There we go. So there's the head. And it's a nice looking head. If you want the Prowl physique for your Combiner Wars Devastator, that is great. I don't have batteries for this, but there is a little switch here, which you flip, and the lights come on. You just unscrew the back of the head. But, this is a but. It is holding on with two tiny ports. So when you take this off, you have to be very, very careful. Because this and this, you can see them. There we go. This and this are all that's holding that on. And while the head looks nice, it does look nice, I'm not for it. And I'm pretty sure the face is probably screwed in place. Because honestly, I don't feel the need to replace the head. So I'll just bring him back up again, and I'm going to move the camera. One sec. So there is his lovely old head, and there is the new head. So it's a little bit more detailed. We have this red piece in here, and you might be thinking, Dave, don't want two eyes. I want a visor. Well, you can lift this up, hold this down, and do your best to try and hold it in place. Oh, there you go. It'll just go over the nose a little bit. Fold that down, and you have a visor. Not very good one, because I'm still coming across as two eyes, because the visor doesn't sit properly. It's like Fort Max. There we go. It's like Metroplex, I should say. His visor doesn't want to stay where he is. So the expression is somewhat the same, although honestly the left side of his lip looks like it's up. So it looks like he's smirking instead of being all pissed off and I'm going to destroy you. So there's the other head. So that's more the traditional expression, but the paint's not, like I said, the paint's not finished. It's not meant to be that expression anyway. So you have this one. It does have lights and whatnot, but I'm not detaching it and all that, and I don't have the batteries for it either. But this is supposed to get onto here and somehow tab into place onto there. So you have a green instead of a purple. But then if you want to transform him with the hook, you're going to have a green undercarriage instead. So, yeah. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. So, give me a second. I'm going to attempt to put his forearm back together, and I will give you a rough look of what he would look like with pretty much most of his upgrade kit. And there he is. Now, for those of you saying to yourself, wait a minute, didn't you say you weren't going to replace the head? I did not replace the head. I did not glue the forearm piece together or any of that. I literally tucked the original Devastator head away, put the neck replacement piece in place, and just put the head over the top of the tab. So it's not plugged in, it's not screwed in or anything. So it's just literally sitting there. It's not gonna. Wouldn't work to save its life. So it does make him look big. But in saying that, I don't think Combiner Wars Devastator needs to look this big. It's incredibly fiddly. The forearm extenders need to be glued together. It's slightly disappointing that you can now see Longhaul's arms and you can't really do anything about it, because if you try to twist them back, you will just end up untabbing the couple of the tabs that hold Hook in place. The butterfly joints don't work unless they're supposed to be the other way, because then it just pops off the chest plate. The ratchets are fine going up and down, but I've already had Bone Crusher almost come off the tabs. So, yeah, there is that. The hands are brilliant. I like the hands. They add articulation. It really didn't need it, but it's nice. It's always nice. All right. I always say that, for instance, I said with the Meg toys, leave the articulation the way it was. I don't think that small deluxe Voyager leader class figures need massive articulation, especially in some masterpiece figures, especially due to transformation. Combiners need full articulation. They should have full articulation in their fingers. They shouldn't have typewriter fingers. They shouldn't have just grippy hands. They should have legitimate articulated fingers. In saying that, it does look good on this guy. The shoulders are nice. It does raise them up, like I said. It does show these. The head, I wouldn't even worry about. The foot is fine. The cab for the foot is fine, as long as you don't move it. Like, honestly, if I had the choice, I'd glue it together. But at the same time, I don't want to glue it, because then I wouldn't be able to get it off if I want Mixmaster transform differently. So I'd rather not hinder his transformation by gluing it together so it's solid. The head's nice. I don't feel the need to change it and go through all the steps. But of course, as I said, it's not plugged in. For those of you, and while I fiddle with this while I talk, his visor is moving up as I'm doing this. So that can just go back where it was. And try to get this in without snapping the goddamn pins. The lighting might be nice. There you go. Have a quick look to see how he looks with the prowl. Oops, sorry, I bumped the camera there. I like certain aspects of this, and there's certain aspects I don't like of it, honestly. Perfectly honest. I've also got the Predator King upgrade kit, and that one does so much more for me than this did. I don't think he needed so much extra girth. I think they just need to fix the foot, give him articulation of the fingers. But if this is something that you've been craving for, go right ahead. But yeah, it's doing things for me that I really didn't need it doing. I was perfectly happy with the way it was. So I don't know. I might leave the cab on there, but I have a feeling I will just pretty much take off the shoulders, put the heads away and the forearm extenders away, because I don't like seeing Longhaul's arms. Honestly, I don't like the way they look. And I think if you had the forearm extenders on, which will lower, because here's where the port is for the combined mode, and it would be down here, roughly, give or take. So roughly around here. So it's about that much, give or take, lifted. So, yeah. I know this isn't a very decisive review. Honestly, I was going into this going, no, well, I hate this. It's stupid. I regret it. And I regret it for the price. And it's not actually, regret's the wrong word. I'm disappointed for it for the price. I think, considering it cost me around $100 Aussie dollars, I would have been happy paying $50 for this set, and would have been like, oh yeah, it's all right. But $100, this ain't worth $100. Not for the electronics, not for the fact you have to basically glue the forearms together. It's not worth the price. But it does what it sets out to do for the most part. So I will give it that. It gives us a proper Mixmaster foot. It gives us hand articulation. It makes him bigger. It makes him beefier, which I don't really think he needed in the first place. So, yeah. This is probably the most undecisive review I have ever done. Would I suggest getting it? If it's on special. If it's on a bargain, get it. If it's full price, unless you just want to throw money away because you either really love the way it looks or all my critiques don't bother you, then go ahead and get it. But personally, if I'd known now what I knew, if I'd known then, I should say, what I know now, I would have waited for it on special. But the problem is with these upgrade kits, especially DNA, once they're gone, they are gone. So there's not much you can do about it. So it's like fans' toys. You have to jump in on the figure because if you don't jump in on it, it's gone. So, yeah. So there we go. So if you like this review, give me a thumbs up. If you didn't like this review, or this video, I should say. God, I'm changing my ending. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you didn't like this video, give me a thumbs down. I promise you it will not hurt my feelings. Subscribe or ring that bell. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think of this. But apart from that, I'll catch you later.